Welcome to the WindyCity Rundown. Yeah, what's up, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to another great episode of the WindyCity Rundown. I am Eric Avila, running the show solo dolo, but it's all good. Jose Contreras should be joining me very soon. But if you guys want to join me, the link is right there in the bio. Join us. Join us on another great episode as we talk about. We're giving out our draft grades for the Chicago Bears. How do you guys like? Do you like the picks? Do you guys have anything to complain about? We're going to go around there. Obviously, the first two picks were the most important ones, or three picks, should I say, because they're, two in the second, one in the first. But nonetheless, we'll be talking about our grades. Also, we're going to talk about a little bit of the NBA playoffs. And a very weird one, to say the least. At least for me, it's a little weird on what's been going on with the NBA playoffs. A lot of dominant. I think there's only one good series where the series is tied at 2. Everybody else is either swept or a 3-1 lead. So yeah, it's very strange. So join us. The link is right here if you guys want to join us today. Like I said, Jose should be dropping in sometime soon. But let's get our show started. As always, guys, make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, Twitch, on Twitter. It's X now, but I still say Twitter. On Twitter, on TikTok, and on Instagram. Follow us, hit the little bell when you get notified when our shows are live. And as always, guys, like and share all of our content. But yeah, no, ladies and gentlemen, the Bears concluded their draft last week. Well, the Bears and all the other 31 teams or 29 teams had their draft last week in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It was a very good, exciting show over there. Green Bay did a wonderful job. I think that's the only thing good that they have going. But let's get to it. The Bears with their first round pick, number 10. A lot of speculation about what the Bears are going to do. A lot of speculation about where the Bears are going to trade up. Are the Bears going to trade down? Who they're going to get? A lot of movement with Ashton Genty. It was just it was a lot of everything leading up to the NFL draft for the Chicago Bears on what they're going to do, on who are they going to pick. Obviously, last week when we were talking about before the draft, where I wanted an offensive lineman, defensive lineman. I just want a lineman, right? They needed help on both sides of the ball, defense especially. They unfortunately they didn't address it as much as I would like. But also at the same time, they didn't really address the offensive line. Yes, they have a little depth when they got for the second round pick. But even then, it just wasn't right. It didn't feel right, or it didn't feel good enough for the Chicago Bears for them to move on from that aspect, or for them to get more depth into that team. But first things first in the first round. I mean, the way it fell at that point, it was like just get the best available player. That's where you had to trust Ryan Poles and also Ben Johnson on their evaluation on who they wanted to get, on what player they wanted to get, on who was higher on their draft board. We all wanted, either Kevin Banks if Will Campbell would have fell, Will Campbell, Mason Green, some crazy trade for Abdul Carter, but the sexy pick and the sexy choice was also Ashton Genty. None of those players fell. They did it. Kevin Banks actually went right before to the New Orleans Saints, before the Bears picked him up at 10. And they ended up going with Colston Loveland. A lot of people weren't too excited about that pick. I know we were talking about in our group chat between Jose, John, and I that, Colston Loveland, why pick up another player, another specialty player? Why have not address something different? Address the O-line, address something. The defensive line, I was getting, smack talk by the guys talking about, that I flip-flopped about me at that point it was you get the best available player, because the player that was up for grabs or the players that I wanted to get were all gone by then. So that's where you trust your new head coach. And Yeah, we got Colston Loveland. A lot of people didn't really like that pick because Tyler Warren, the other tight end, was supposed to be the best tight end in this group. But there was a lot of speculation, a lot of conversation about how him and Tyler and Cole Kmet were kind of the same. We're the same player. And honestly, like I don't really watch that much college football. I trust the eyes and I trust the people who do watch a lot of college football. I trust what they say. I believe what they're saying. And they're saying that Cole Kmet and Tyler Warren were one of the same player. Why would you want one of the same player? That's always you want to switch it up. You want to do something different, right? And I think that's what Colston Loveland comes in. It's a big guy, big frame. Dude is 6'6", 248. He moves like a wide receiver with a tight end body. I think that was one thing. He's in you know, an exceptional route runner. He has big hands, has an outstanding, amazing catch radius from around him. And he just came off, I mean, one of the worst, not worst seasons, but one of the down seasons for, Michigan football. But he had a productive season just by himself individually. He did win the national championship last year, who was a big factor in their run last year for Michigan Wolverines. And to be quite honest, there's a lot of people, there wasn't a lot of separation between him and Tyler Warren. It was just a matter of who you like best. They both had a case to be number one tight end, number two tight end in this NFL draft. But a lot of people question the draft pick simply because of Cole Kmet. Let's go back to Cole Kmet for a second. The Bears have their tight end one. But what does that mean? What does the future hold for Cole Kmet? I mean, if you guys watch Ben Johnson and the Detroit Lions, a lot of 12 personnel, a lot of two tight end set, right? But you're not paying you're not using a first round draft pick and also paying another guy, I think whatever Cole's making, what, $15 million a year, whatever the case, whatever his salary cap is, or whatever his year is. You already have too much talent or too much, big names are in those positions to fill up a football field, right? And how much are you going to go to 12 personnel? You're not going to go 12 personnel all the time, So again, it was a very head scratching move for the Chicago Bears. It was a very head scratching move, for some people. On the other hand, I was like, it is what it is. You get the best available player. You have to trust your coach. You have to trust your GM about the decision that they made. And quite honestly, I mean, a lot of people love it. A lot of people had him as number one tight end in the draft board. A lot of people thought he was going to be he's going to be a difference maker. A lot, what people like to say, blue chip player. And you know what? It's a wait and see. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not upset. I'm not mad. You need players. You need those type of players. You need players that to build around with. And obviously, Cole Kmet's contract, if you guys want to talk about it, his contract is actually very movable after this season. So you could go ahead and move on from Cole Kmet after you're getting, Colston Loveland. But it's more of a wait and see. I had no problem. If you guys have a problem, put it on the comment. What is your grade for the Chicago Bears draft pick last week or draft class for last week? I'll give you my grade after I run through, just the important players. I'm not going to run down the whole entire draft, but I have no issue. I had no issue at this point because all the players that I want to work on. In the second round, the Bears had to move back a spot or two in their draft board simply because I honestly felt that Travion Henderson was going to be their guys. As we go on, what's up, Caesar? Caesar's in the comments. Caesar says, I'm at this point, I'm just looking forward to see what this team can do. 100%. And I think that's the expectation for everybody this year. And that should be everybody's expectation. I know there's a lot of people out there that are saying playoffs are bust, or, the Bears have to do this or the Bears have to do that. At this point, I mean, I'm just fine. If you guys know me, if you guys been watching us from JCA and, Jose and Eric, when we first started and all this, even out to the WindyCity Rundown, the multiple names that this show has produced throughout the years, I've always said be better than last year. That's always my motto, and that will always be my motto. Right. So last year we had 5 wins. All right. Be better than 5 wins. It's going to be a difficult schedule next season coming up. And honestly, that's cool. I mean, it provides a challenge to where the Bears are going to be with the NFL's best, because they're going to compete with literally the NFL's best division, the AFC North. So we'll see what the Bears are at. But yes, I do agree. At this point, it's just a wait and see. We're not going to get overhyped about it. I'm not going to get overhyped about it. Guys, make sure you share our show too as well. Like and follow our shows too. I haven't even done that. Let me put a little love on on our show. But as always, guys, the show's out there. Make sure you guys follow and share our episodes too as well. Let's see, Jose. Hey, look who decided to show up. Drafting Loveland means that they don't have a future. They don't see a future with Cole Kmet. Look, I know we love our players. As fans of teams, we love players, but also we have to put into consideration that this is also a business. And who knows? I mean, there's always talks that his contract is kind of like the most expendable one because you don't have to hit. There's not a big salary cap hit. But also at the same time, you're getting a guy in Cole Kmet who was underutilized last season. Let's be completely honest. We had a lot of conversation last season about why the Bears haven't used Cole Kmet. And the times that they did, I mean, he had big numbers. Given the year prior, what his season was like the year prior to that one, I mean, he had an outstanding season, kind of what I think is a career best. But as a business and a new coaching staff, I mean, let's go down Ben Johnson's tenure as offensive coordinator in Detroit. He had a top 5, definitely a top 10 tight end in TJ Hawkinson. And what did he do to him? He traded him away to the division to the Minnesota Vikings. He drafted Sam Laporta, who is probably the best tight end in the game. Definitely top 3, or arguably top 3, definitely top 5. And so at that point, it's like, what is the one thing that Ben Johnson can do in his short tenure of play calling? He knows how to find tight ends. And you have to, yes, it's difficult to first of all, it's difficult to swallow the fact that you're going to have to let go of Cole Kmet probably after this season. But it's for the beneficiary of the team, especially using a high draft pick in Colston Loveland in moving on from Cole Kmet. And who knows, maybe you could restructure his contract and you can use those 2 tight ends, and now you have a dynamic 2 tight end set. But also how many you only have 1 football, so how are you going to spread the ball out to set of those players? So we'll see. Let me see. Let's go right here. I see that. See right here. Jose says, but the huge focus on the offense this draft, it is good to see 100%. And I think the only reason why it went like that, Jose, is because of how the draft fell. And I honestly do believe, if you really kind of look at it, because take a step back, the Bears could have traded out of the number 10 pick, but we wouldn't probably be having Colston Loveland in here. We probably wouldn't have, that was one of Ben Johnson's players that he wanted. Same. I mean, if you go to the second round draft pick too as well, Luther Burden from out of Missouri, a wide receiver, another kind of questionable pickup right there too as well, simply because you already have 2 wide receivers in DJ Moore and Rome Odunze, who you drafted last year. But you're using them in the slot, which again comes into the conversation of Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland. Like, who are you going to have? Which one of those 2 you're going to have on the field if you're going to go with a 3-wide receiver set? You're going to have a tight end on the outside. Colston Loveland is more like a receiving tight end than anything than Cole Kmet. So, there's a plethora of playmakers on the Chicago Bears offense this year so far of what we have seen, how the Bears have built this team. But again, another questionable mark. But I honestly feel like this draft pick was made simply because Thompson was going to be their pick, the running back from Ohio State. And I think that was the only reason why they traded back for their pick. What was it, 39? They traded back and they used him as the number 41 pick because of that same exact reason. Again, it's another offense. It's another specialty weapon, another offensive weapon for Ben Johnson and where he's going to have. This one I wasn't really that big of a fan of because of said reason of you still needed help on the offensive lineman. You still needed help on the defensive lineman. Yes, I get it. You need to get these type of players to come out and perform. But again, you're missing the big thing of what was been the Bears' struggle throughout the last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of not having a decent offensive line. And now this is the first time that we kind of see that they're transitioning into an offensive team instead of a defensive team, and the defensive side of the ball has been the Bears' bread and butter for their whole entire franchise. So yes, it's a little weird to say that. Caesar goes and say, if we don't make a decent run in the playoffs, this was a failure. I disagree with there, Caesar, with you, because it's in the NFL. It is easy to make it from worst to first. I get that. That's probably the easiest thing and probably one of the quickest way, and the only sport that you could kind of think of where you could be a last place team and go to first place the year after, just after one off season. But to say it was a failure, I don't think so. The expectations for Caleb Williams have risen, as it should be every single year. Can the Bears make noise? 100%. I think the Bears can make noise in the NFC, definitely in the NFC North, but in the whole entire NFC conference. But a decent run. I mean, Caesar, you can't even say a decent run when the Bears haven't even been in the playoffs the last 5 years. So what is a decent run? Win one game. That's a decent run. No, I feel like the baby steps are you rebuild this team, you build this team up to a contending team and how you want it to be, and then if you make the playoffs, great. Because in the NFL, anything can happen in the playoffs. We had this conversation the last time the Bears were in the playoffs in 2020, 2021, that, let the Bears make the playoffs because it's a one-off game, and anything can happen in a one-off game. And I stand by that. And only in the NFL, I stand by this statement because it's the only playoff format that's one and done. So it's kind of, let's just have a winning season, or let's just be better than last year before we even talk about even consider playoffs. Let's see if we can make noise in the NFC North first. Let's see. We did something last season that we haven't done in the last 7 years, and that's beat Green Bay in Green Bay. So at least let that be a stepping stone for this upcoming season, even though it's a long stretch between the last win and the next playoff or the next regular season game. There's a lot of months and a lot of things happening in between then, but let that be the stepping stone for the following season first. And we can consider talking about playoffs or consider about talking something else. Jose said that's the one thing that we can't forget, that next year's schedule is tougher, 100%. I mean, you have the Bengals, you have the Ravens, you have the Steelers, you have who else you have next year? You have the AFC West, I believe. Oh shit! Let me look at these. Excuse me. Let me look at what teams that they have, because the Bears do have a very tough schedule. Outside of the 6 games that we play in our division, there's already 3 games right there already added to that. They have the NFC East. There you go. That's the other one. The NFC East. And then you got the 49ers thrown in there too as well. And a healthy 49ers team is a pretty scary team. Again, mind you, they have to be healthy. But it's a lot tougher. The games on the road are probably the hardest games that I don't think that any team in the NFL has. You go to Baltimore, you go to Cincinnati, you go to Washington, you go to Philly. Already 4 tough games outside of the Packers, the Lions, and the Vikings, right? Which is always tough in playing in your own division. So yes, it's a lot tougher, and it's going to be a lot tougher this upcoming season. Caesar says second round of playoffs. Caesar, man, that's divisional, my guy. That's division. That's tough, Caesar, and that's still tough in a team that's still trying to learn and still trying to build. Let's just be content for right now, a winning season. And I know that's hard for me to say it, or let me backtrack that. I know that's hard for some people to understand where we need to go. And yes, like I said before, in the NFL, it's a lot easier to go from worst to first and make it to the playoffs and have a decent run. I know that is easy to say, and it's easy, and we've seen it time and time again for as long as you watch the NFL. But the thing is that in the time being, the defense doesn't strike me as a defense that looks like they're going to stop somebody, or they're going to get to the quarterback or stop the run. They didn't make any type of movement whatsoever to improve the defensive line, to make me believe in what you're trying to sell me, Caesar, in second round in the playoffs and make a run in the playoffs. Like, if you tell me, hey, win the NFC North, I am right with you. I think winning the NFC North should be the main priority. But let's have a winning season first, so at least set the bar at a very low standard and then hit the high bar. And I get it. That's kind of like the loser's mentality or the cheap way talk or the cheap conversation to have. But in all honesty, dude, like it is like that should be the next stepping stone on what you want to build. And yes, I get it. It might be a year wasted of Caleb Williams, but you got to remember, this is also going to be Ben Johnson's first year as NFL head coach. This is also going to be Caleb Williams' first year in another system in the NFL. Can it be quarterback friendly? 100%. Can we see a huge success? 100%. But don't be surprised if the Bears start off slow. And I know you don't want, nobody wants to hear that, but again, it's going to be a new system. It's going to be a new system implemented. It's going to be some new play calls. It's going to be new terminology. It's going to be a lot of new things happening for the Chicago Bears this upcoming season. That don't be surprised if they start off slow. And if they start off hot, that's fucking great. Like, take the positives and run with it. That's fucking great. If they start off on a very hot streak, however the schedule comes out, and then we're scoring 25, 26, 28 points, 30 points like it's nothing. But then also remember, there's nothing on the defensive side of the ball. So we might have these high-scoring games at first. Who knows? I don't know. But it is a way to view things and the way to see things for this upcoming season, because this season is a head scratcher. I can't even put a finger on what the Bears are going to be this year. Like, I seriously can't. He said, okay, we got to beat Green Bay twice. And I called it a success. I mean, hey, at this point, I could call that a success too, to be completely honest with you, bro. Like, I mean, beating Green Bay twice, shit, I don't even think I've ever seen that in my lifetime as being a Bears fan. I don't even think how long ago that I look that up right now. It's kind of hard to do this by myself here on the WindyCity Rundown. On Facebook and YouTube, guys, make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the good places. Guys, make sure you hit the little bell on our Facebook page to get notified when our shows are live. And make sure you always share and like our videos, man. Help us grow this sports show into, I don't know, I guess the biggest region sports show in Chicago. Let's start off small for us, right? Help us build this program. Share our show, like our show, comment on our show, like Caesar's doing, like Jose's doing, and everybody else. So we appreciate the love, and we appreciate the support too as well. As I look, the last time the Chicago Bears beat the Packers, this is prime content right here, twice in the season. The last time the Chicago Bears beat the Packers twice in the season. Oh, shit. It says, if I read this correctly, it says that the last time that the Bears beat the Packers twice was 1984 and 1985. No way. That cannot be the last time the Bears have beat the Packers twice in one season. That is crazy. That's wild. Now that's a stat to look up. Jose says our defense was decent under Eberflus. I think Dennis Allen is a great defensive coordinator, so I think we will be decent. But our offense will have to carry a little bit more. I feel. Sorry, guys. No, you're absolutely. You're on point, Jose. I do agree. I think the offense is going to be the one thing that's going to carry us this season so far. The way how the team looks like at the moment, I do believe. I still feel there's something about there's this feeling that I have that I do believe that the Chicago Bears has like one trade. It's like a Khalil Mack, not Khalil Mack type player, but like a Khalil Mack type trade to where they'll get somebody right before a training camp, and it could be Hendricks from the Bengals, and give him a new contract simply because we have the salary cap to do so, the money to do so, because we have a rookie quarterback in a rookie contract. So I do believe that the Bears. I feel like the Bears are going to make that move. Like, I don't know why, but I have that feeling that the Bears are going to make that type of move before the season starts, just because, like, the Bears need help. The Bears need help. Yes, they're going to get Dexter back. They're going to get Billings back. They're going to get, a lot of players that were hurt last season. This year, healthy, hopefully, presumably healthy. But is that enough? Is that enough to go with Montez Sweat? Is that enough to line them up with the guy that they got from Indianapolis Colts? Like, are those players coming back healthy enough to propel this defense into a mid-table defense? At least that's the goal. That should be the goal. Like, the Bears should be in the middle of the pack in defense, at least at the bare minimum. Not even the bare minimum. Like, I think that should be the goal. The Bears should be somewhere between 12 and 16 in the defense, ranking defense in the whole entire NFL, for them to even have a shot, for them to even have an opportunity to compete with all these other teams year in and this upcoming season. I think that's not even a lofty goal. I think that should be the goal, the main goal. And if they exceed that expectations of them being a top 10 defense, then kudos. Because what Jose says right here, Dennis Allen is a great defensive coordinator, 100%. And it's shown throughout his tenure in the NFL for the last 20 years that he is a great defensive coordinator, not a good head coach, but a decent coordinator nonetheless to propel the Bears on the defensive side of the ball. What's weird to me, again, guys, is the fact that they didn't do enough. They got depth in the offensive line. It takes the Seth freaking Rollins. I think that was probably the great introduction, and also the great way of representing what Chicago Bears is, with using a heel in the WWE, and his antics of being Seth freaking Rollins. That's cool. Ozzy Trapello, really big dude, and I think that's crazy. A dude that's 6'8", 316. The only question and the only thing that I have about this draft pick, and again, it is depth on the offensive line, something that we never had, and the Bears literally did a lot over the offseason to trade for Tooney and trade for Jonah Jackson to get Dom in the center. For the Chicago Bears, you have Darnell Wright last year, who had a down year, but it's the offensive line of the Chicago Bears, and he's probably like the only consistent one on this team last season to do something with the Chicago Bears. But now the one thing about Ozzy Trapello is the fact that he's also a right tackle. So what does that mean? Are you going to move him to left tackle? Are you going to move Darnell Wright? What does that mean for Braxton Jones? Is Braxton Jones automatically out of this team? And the guy that they drafted last year, what is his name? Adebayo? I think that's his name. The guy from Northwestern, or not Northwestern. I'm sorry, from Yale. It's like, okay, you're doing the right thing of getting offensive linemen, right? But the question about that, though, is like, where are you putting them? Because Tooney and Jackson are both right guards. Who are you kicking out to the left guard? You drafted Ozzy Trapello, but you drafted Darnell Wright a couple years ago as your right tackle. So who are you throwing out to the left? Is Trapello even going to be playing? They're saying that he's already one of the quickest guys that he's a bona fide starter from day one. So by addressing the offensive line, I think you created more questions than you did answers for the Chicago Bears in this offensive line, in my eyes, in my opinion, because again, you're moving a lot of pieces for players that think you could play in the same position or play from one side of the line and the other, and yet we don't know how successful they're going to be. Like I said, Jonah Jackson, he's a right guard. Is he going to be a left guard? Tooney, left guard. Is he going to be like, you got two players that are playing there in one position, and you drafted a right tackle who you already have a right tackle in Darnell Wright, and who are you going to move to left tackle? And what about all the other guys there? Again, you did right. You're getting something that we've never had on the Chicago Bears, and that's depth. But again, where are the answers? I think you made yourself, you got more questions than answers. Jose said it's all about developing. We have to trust the staff and hope they do the right by the O-line. 100%. You're right, Jose, but I'll put it into this perspective, and I think this is the best way I can put it. Me in what I know, right? in soccer terms, right? I am not going to put a center back who's probably the stronghold of my defense and play him center mid to help the attack. Like that's something that I'm not going to do. I may put him in defensive middle, literally that's right in front of the defense, but also you're still putting him out of position and he may not read the game the same way. And I know it's all about development, and I know most of these guys are young, but guys like Tooney, guys like Jackson, like these are established veterans. You're already gonna switch them on a fly. Can they play both sides of the ball? For sure, but for damn sure, they're successful on one side of the ball than they are the other. They might struggle a little bit. They can do it, but I mean, is it going to be successful? And that's the big question mark that I'm having. And now, especially when you drafted Chapello, when you already have Darnell Wright, who's still going to play on the left side? Braxton Jones might not even be ready. Are you going to throw Darnell Wright that way? Is he going to be successful? Are you going to stunt his growth? Like there's a lot. Look, I know now. I know I'm nitpicking at this point, right? This is already days after the draft. This is me already evaluating. This is me already reading about these players. This is me about understanding what players were here from last year, and now I'm just nitpicking. But if you're saying development, you have to develop them the right way for them to be comfortable. You can't throw them into the these young kids. Sure, okay, cool. Let's see if they can become successful at this part. Let's see if they can withstand the pressure. Let's see if they can do this. But with established veterans like that, and then the veterans have to teach these kids, it's too much. Like you got to keep it simple by actually like, hey, this guy's a left tackle, fucking get him. At least he's already going to bona fide. He's going to be a solidified starter or he's going to be good at this spot because he already done it. I know you're talking about the young guys, Jose, but at the same time, it's kind of like if you're already developed. That's the thing. You're already developing Darnell Wright as the right tackle for you. For you to switch him to left tackle, it's going to be hard. Chapello literally played his whole entire career in Boston College on the right side. You're throwing him on the left side, which is supposed to be the most important part of the offensive line, simply because your quarterback is a right-hand throwing quarterback. That's going to be another issue, and that's something that he's not used to because the movement is different, the hand movement is different, everything is different going from right to left. Jose says the vets are established. All they got to do is just learn the playbook. 100%, it's easier said than done. But if Jonah Jackson and Tooney were both right guards, one of them is going to be on the left guard because you're signing them. Just because one played a little bit more on the opposite side of the line doesn't mean he was successful at it. So again, the Bears did a great job of providing depth for the offensive line, but now you're still having moving parts in this offensive line to make that you're just adding more questions than you are providing answers. And I get it. They're all big men. They're all getting paid thousands and millions of dollars. I get that. You don't feel sorry for them whatsoever. They're going to be the protector of our quarterback, our potential franchise quarterback for the next 2, 3, 4 years. But also you got to make it make sense. Hey, look who's on here, Tony. What's up, Tony? He says, it's something new. We just have to trust this coaching staff to develop these young kids, and it's all about coaching. 100%, Tony. And you and I, again, we've from the sport, like I've just mentioned, from the sport that we both love and watch and we both play. You're not going to throw. It's different from my example, putting a center back as a defensive mid. Kind of almost the same. It's just a little bit of difference in reading the game and reading that side of the ball. You know what I mean? And I get it. Look, you could in football, you could scheme a way to make sure that you don't see the flaws or the deficiencies on the offensive line. Yes, you could easily do that. But I mean, when you have to be traditional and dropping back and throwing the ball and holding the line for 3 seconds or holding the line as much as you can for 3 or more seconds, like you're gonna see the deficiencies there. You might see the flaws there. Jose says maybe with Chapello, it allows him to teach right at left and give him time to develop there. I only say him because he is already experienced in NFL speed 100%, but there's a difference between the NFL speed on one side and NFL speed on another, right? Yes, speed is speed. I get that. But if for 2 years you've been developing on one side of the ball or one side of the football line, and now you have to learn a whole nother side because it's a whole different movement, it's a whole different technique, it's a whole different type of, you know, using your left hand instead of your right hand because of that's the way you're kind of moving. It's difficult. It becomes difficult. It becomes too much, and you're already stunting the growth of a player who was already accustomed and was really doing a great job on that other side, on the right side of the ball for the years to come. So it's kind of like, okay, yes, but it's like, why are you doing that? You know what I mean? Why are you stunting the growth of a player who's already there and then just switching them over because you want to try this guy that you just drafted? Like, again, it doesn't make any sense. And look, I know I'm nitpicking. You know, I know I'm being very critical right now at the moment, but I really have to understand why this, like why make these movements if you kind of if you had a little bit easier in this draft to like keep it simple, you know. Shamir Turner is another defensive tackle, 6'3", 290, kind of one of those players. This feels like a Dennis Allen type of player. Like, I think this is probably like the only one that they, I guess, fit the bill for you per se for that, right? The only thing, again, nitpicking, right? But the only thing that sucks about this, though, is the fact that this was the only time that they acknowledged the defensive line. And this is the only time where they just did something for the defensive line. And I feel like they didn't have enough. To be honest, completely honest with you, 100%, like Trapello signing or the drafting of Trapello is great. That's another offensive line that you have, and you're adding depth to it. To me, 100. To be completely honest with you guys, we have a bunch of players on the defensive line, but there's no, outside of Montez Sweat, there's not another person that makes a difference. I mean, if you could say the guy that we got from Indy and then Jared Grady, the guy that we signed from Atlanta, if you're saying that's good enough and then you're just adding more depth, like more quantity than quality, then we're going to run into a problem. I mean, we still need to find somebody opposite of Montez Sweat. I feel like they should go out and trade for another defensive lineman who is struggling or is unhappy with their current team at the moment. Because right now, the Bears really don't have quality depth or quality players on their defensive line, and that's going to be their Achilles heel. And to say the Bears don't have quality on the defensive side of a ball or the defensive line is mind-boggling, because that's what the Bears have been known for so many years. So many years. He's like, yeah, there's no X factor on the D line other than Sweat. That's from Jose. If he gets double, who steps up, man? And 100% Jose. And that's why I felt like, instead of, again, I'm not questioning, you know, Trapello or Luther Burden or anything like that, but like, there were players out there for you to get on the edge rush, on the opposite side of the edge, or on a defensive end player that could help you along those lines, who's there for years to get sacks in the college level and high college level. I think it was Mason Green, even though he had some off the field issues, he still ended up getting to the quarterback with no problem. Sack numbers weren't there, but the pressure was. And I think that sometimes in the NFL, that's all you need, is just to apply pressure, because then somebody else, like a Sweat, like a Billings, like a Grady, like any other players on the defensive line, even the linebacking crew, can get to the quarterback if that's the play call to be designed. Sometimes, again, providing pressure is better than getting a sack. Obviously, getting the sack at the end of the day is top notch, top bins, but providing with the pressure is what takes the rhythm, takes the timing away from a quarterback to get the play set. And it's just, it was just another thing. One of those is like, okay, cool, you got a defensive tackle, but again, we're getting We have Grady that we just signed. We're getting Billings back. We have Austin Booker. We have uh who else is the other? I just said his name earlier. Like we have 4 or 5 other players that we have, and you're getting another defensive tackle. Like you're still leaving yourself short on the defensive end. So it's like, all right, guys. Like I'm trying to be excited, but like guys, like it was just weird. But at the end of the day, the Bears did something that I don't think any other regime, you know, Ryan Pace and Phil Emery, and I forget the other one before then. Like even I say all of this, even all this negativity that I've been saying, I've been talking about. The crazy thing about it, guys, is the fact that the Bears have fucking depth. And what can the Bears do with that depth is the crazy part to me. And it is the ridiculous part to me. Is like, what else can the Bears do? What can the Bears provide with this depth? And it's great to have these because the Bears have never had, not even on the offense side of the ball, have this many players. I mean, look, you have DJ Moore, you have Roma Dunze, you just got Luthen Burdens, you have Cole Kmet, and now you just pick up Colson Loveland. You know, who's the other players that can step up, like a Tyler Scott? Who else is on this team, right? Running back, I honestly do feel like we're going to get a free agent with DeAndre Swift, with Roshan Johnson. To do that towards ACL last year, Wheeler, I think that's his name. You know, we might get another veteran running back. I think that's great. It's crazy to like. I'm as negative as I'm sounding about these draft picks that the Bears have gotten. The Bears have also did something that we have never seen, and that's getting depth in all areas. I mean, hell, look, you can go far back as, you know, the 5th, 6th, 7th round. We have, you know, a linebacker who a lot of people question, another cornerback, another offensive tackle in from Michigan State, and then obviously we got a running back in the 7th round, but he may or may not make the team. It depends. Anything after the 6th round, it's kind of like a toss up in the air. But again, I love it because the Bears are addressing something, and that's something that we never have, and that's quality depth behind these positions, because if somebody goes down, there at least is somebody there to take it to the next level. So overall, what's your guys' draft grades with the Chicago Bears? I want to know what you guys think. What is your grade on the Chicago Bears? To me, it's like a strong B minus. I give it a B minus. Outside of the depth part that we talked about, that I was talking about the Chicago Bears, I do feel like they kind of like replicated or, you know, multiply their problems just a little bit more, you know, with a revolving whatever they're going to do in the offensive line, not really addressing the defensive end line or the defensive line as much. You got quality depth on there for sure. But it's a B minus. They could have done a little bit more, you know, in the 2nd round. It is what it is. What happened in the 1st round, getting Loveland. I like the pick. It's one of those ready players to be made. But it's ready to go. Jose says he hears me, you know, so ready for a new identity being offensively structured. 100% Jose. And I think that's the new NFL. That is the new NFL offensively. Offense is now the new offense is the, what is it? In the NFL, offense can now win you championships, but you still have to have a stout defense to stop that plays. And honestly, I don't know where the Bears are going to see. I don't see where the Bears are going to come up with that, you know, making these stops. I give them a solid B minus, a real solid B minus. Tony says football is all about momentum, and then the end of the season with a win at Green Bay, it will carry on to the season. Same thing with me. He gives them a B minus. I agree with you, Tony. I think with a win at Green Bay, as much as it did hurt us in the draft, I think from drafting 10, we could probably been drafting 7, maybe 8. We could probably got, you know, Kevin Banks, so we probably would have had a different discussion. Or probably Mason Graham, or, you know, something along those lines to help alleviate these problems that we have with the Chicago Bears. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's right. We beat the Green Bay Packers. We haven't beaten the Packers in 7 years. Or, you know, we haven't beaten the Packers in Green Bay in such a long time. I can't even remember when, you know, dating back, what is it, Thanksgiving with Jay Cutler in 2015, 2016 was probably the last time. 2014, 2013 was probably the last time that we saw the Bears beat the Packers in Green Bay. Like, it's been a long, long time. So you're absolutely right. The momentum does carry on over, and this is the great momentum we have to see. Obviously, not only that, but a fresh start in Ben Johnson. I think that also rejuvenates the team too as well. He looks like he's a hard-nosed coach. He's going to get in your face. He's really going to look out for the weaknesses in players, the strengths in players, but also he's going to see, like he mentioned before, what are you going to do without the ball? What are you blocking? Are you still trying to sell your play, your route? Are you still trying to do this? Like he is really going to evaluate these players that were here prior to him, outside of, I guess, Caleb Williams, outside of all these like DJ Moore and Roma Dunze and probably like that. You know what I mean? Like there's certain players that kind of already solidified their slots here in the Chicago Bears, but it's everybody else. Everybody else is just up for grabs on the starting lineup, on what players are gonna start out, So Jose says you give him stuff. I guess yes, you're playing the Mexico League. And you ain't lying, Tony. I need to get back. I mean, I could probably still do with the veterans under 40 with my age and my weight, but whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, no, it's a B minus. A solid B minus for me. I feel like the Bears have like another trade in them. They're gonna trade for another defensive player. They need to another one to accommodate Montez Sweat on the other side. So yeah, let's just hope for the best. I mean, it's exciting, guys. Let's be completely honest. I think a lot of people are like me, kind of in the middle, teetering, tottering. Whether are we going to be super excited? Are we going to hype up the season? Are we going to downgrade the season? I think we're just going along with the motions. There's a lot of people that are hyped. There's a lot of people that are negative about it. There's a lot of people that still believe that the Bears didn't do a great job. So this year is different. This year feels like we're going into the season with all right, let's just wait and see. And it's cool to be if you're like that. And once the season starts, then we're gonna take it week by week, week by week basis. I think that's the smart way to approach this season until we really get a full understanding of this team by like week 6 or 7 of the new NFL season. And I think that's where we're going to evaluate and we're going to understand what type of team the Chicago Bears are going to be for the rest of the 25-26 season. Guys, this is WindyCity Rundown here on Facebook and on YouTube. Guys, make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Guys, what is your draft grade on the Chicago Bears? I gave it a B minus. Jose gave it a B. Tony gave it a B minus. Let us know what you guys think. What did you guys like about the draft? What didn't you like about the draft? Let us know in the comment section or join us. The link is in the comment section as well. You can join us at any time. It is right there. I do apologize for my hair. I just took a shower and I just didn't do anything with it. So it's all good. Jose said he'll be back next week. Hey, man. Yeah. We miss you. Well, I don't, but you are missed on this program. Let's be completely honest, man. I do miss you. We all miss you. So I'm glad you're on the chat though. So I mean that's good. I appreciate that 100%. NBA playoffs, guys. We're gonna move on to the next segment, the last segment of the show. The NBA playoffs are in full effect, and to be quite completely honest with you guys, I am. He said T-ball got me all over the place. I mean, hey, get it? I mean, it is what it is, man. You're doing it for the kids, so we understand. I'll be there at one point with my kids playing the football, but I get it, bro. I get it. You're being a dad. Nobody is going to question what you're doing, my guy. I got this down packed. I got it on lockdown for the moment, for today, and just hopefully for today only. But the NBA playoffs are in full effect, and guys, honestly, the NBA playoffs has been a bit weird, at least in my books. There's the Cleveland Cavaliers swept the Miami Heat. They beat them by 55 points in I guess we should have seen it coming, that they were going to sweat. It just shouldn't have been by that many amount of points. The Miami Heat were the first team to in the play-in game to come into the play-in game, eliminating the Chicago Bulls and also the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, just imagine if the Bulls would have made it, right? I think it would have been just the same, probably even worse at this part. The game that just went final, Indiana won the series against the Milwaukee Bucks. They won it by a point, 119 to 118. I was watching that game a little bit before coming down to the game, and it was a lot of back and forth on that in that game. And honestly, I think it just questions of the Milwaukee Bucks on what's their direction and what they're going to do. A lot of conversation about Giannis leaving Milwaukee. You know, he's the only player there. He's probably one of the last remaining players that won the championship 2 years ago with the Milwaukee Bucks. But yeah, that's the big question marks. And honestly, even though the game was back and forth, I never lost faith in the Indiana Pacers. They had the better team, rebounding the ball very well, have efficient shooting. But also the one thing that they had, like, they were dominating, the court on both ends of the ball. With the talent like Giannis and the talent with the Milwaukee Bucks, of them still having that championship pedigree of some of the players that they still had, I guess, that's what kept them in this game for so long before I stopped watching and coming down and doing the show. But again, it's another series that I also kept my eye on and watched a little bit more this year because, that was an interesting matchup. But the Pacers were the better team. Let's be 100% honest. The Pacers were a better team. They were a better team this whole entire year. And I'm not wrong with it. I mean, it's surprising that, again, what the transition of the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that's the crazy part to me, is like they just won the championship a few years ago, and now here they are, probably about to start all over in the next 2 years. Another series that was a sweep too, the OKC Thunder, the best team in basketball. I don't care what anybody says. I think the OKC Thunder are probably the favorites to make it all the way to the NBA Finals. I can see it. When you got SGA playing the way they do, and this team is built all the way around, solid on defense, top 5 in defense, scoring efficient, free throw. I mean, this team probably has it all. Very coached, very well. And the fact that they kind of breezed by outside of yesterday's game, breezed by the Memphis Grizzlies, a Grizzlies team whom I also be in transition to as well. Who knows what's going to happen with the Grizzlies? With Ja Morant and his situation, and a team whose future was so bright. I think they were just in the Western Conference Finals or semifinals literally like a year or two ago. And now to get swept by OKC and just been replaced like that off a whim is crazy. The other conversation, the Lakers, the 3-seeded Lakers are down 3-1 to a much younger, a much hungrier, and a lot more energetic Minnesota Timberwolves. Tony, I think on here says that the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to the NBA Finals. And quite frankly, Tony, I could see it. I could also see, even though I just said OKC are the favorites to go into the finals out of the Western Conference, I could see Minnesota being that team. The way that they're playing, and Anthony Edwards, just a pure beast, and honestly, he's just good. Going to be the future of the NBA, or the face of the NBA in the next 2-3 years, next to Wemby. But I think this for some, and nothing to take away from the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I think this series and this series alone, just this series, obviously because of the opponent that they're playing against, the 3 and the 6 seed, the 6 seed have been looking better than the 3 seed and the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers have been looking lethargic. They've been looking slow. They've been looking like out of sync. And even though let's be honest, the shit talking that we're talking that we did to the Dallas Mavericks about trading Luka away, as talented as Luka is, I could kind of now see why the Mavericks did it. As stupid as that sounds, as crazy as that just came out of my mouth, and now I can understand, or I'm starting to see the bigger picture on why. And Luka looks pudgy. Luka looks thick, but not the good type of thick either. Luka just looks very they just look very, very, very slow. He looks slow. Like that looks like a whole different type of Luka Doncic than I saw last year when he was here against the Dallas Mavericks. Like that just looks like that is not even Luka Doncic, bro. That's like his twin brother or something, bro. Like that is not even him, but he just looks completely different. But I can see it. I see why it's crazy, but I see why Minnesota did that trade. Greek Freak is coming to Chicago, man. Look, as much as that's as amazing as that sounds, Tony, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Reinsdorf has the cojones, the huevos, the balls to sign a max player with that amount of money. Now, granted, he did it with Zach LaVine, a much worse player and a loser. And you're getting a bona fide winner with Giannis Antetokounmpo, but at the stake of the Chicago Bulls on where they're at right now at the moment, Tony, I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I don't see it. The Jose says the Bucks have been a mess. Bring Giannis, Chicago, please, God. Guys, don't get your hopes up, guys. Do not get your hopes up because it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. There is no structure, first of all, here in Chicago for Giannis to even come and even attempt to play with these guys. You're going to waste a year, maybe two. You're going to waste a year. That's 100% sure. By the second year, you might get something, but is Jerry willing to pay that money to bring extra players to come to Chicago? Something that he didn't want to do when he had Jordan and Pippen. He wanted to lowball them. Do you honestly think he's actually going to go deep into his pocketbooks and get these free agents to come to Chicago and play for the Chicago Bulls? Really? Come on now, guys. Let's be smarter than this. We've literally had this conversation for so long, and we've been having this conversation for so many years. And yes, you only have to pay one player. But now, like, what are you going to – like, the Bulls don't even know how to build around the right player. What makes you think you're getting one player, like a superstar like Giannis? Yes, a top 5 superstar in the NBA. But what are you going to do with it? It's going to be like Milwaukee, but with a bigger name at the end of the day. There's no point. I don't see it. Jose says, but as much as I want him, this Chicago teammate, but oh yeah, superstar like him. Yep, there you go. Jose said, Minnesota, Pepsi Soda, Bick of Lakers are gonna get eliminated in 5. That's what it is. They're gonna get eliminated in 5, man. Like, you know, Ant-Man, Superman, you know, Cinderella Man, Minnesota in 5. I think that's what it is. Jose, this guy. It's not that I don't want to let you guys dream. Honestly, it's not. I don't want to be a negative Nancy. I don't want to be the Debbie Downer. I don't want to be Buzz Killington, even though that's my name on my barber's phone. But that's another story for another day. But at the same time, like, Tony, there's no point of us getting fake hope, false hope, false aspirations, dreaming. Like, it's all it is. It's a dream. And the nightmare is the reality. The reality is that the Chicago Bulls are ass. The reality is the Chicago Bulls are not a good ran organization. Like, no, like, let's not even. And if they pull off this heist, it's still not good enough because they still don't know how to build around a team or build around a player. They don't. They build around the wrong one. So no, I don't want to be that guy, but I have to be it in order for us to kind of be in the same circle. And I don't want to be that guy who'll be like, I told you so. I hate to be that guy. Sometimes I love it, but I hate to be the guy to say, I told you so. I'd rather be getting proven wrong. No. That's a bar. Nightmare is a reality. Realest words you've ever said. So what can I say? It comes to me sometimes, but it's true. It's true. There's no point of us to be dreaming about something, guys. Why? Thank you. All right, thank you. I think this is the first time somebody has ever called me an adult, so I'll take that. I'll take that. Thanks, Tony, for sure. But guys, I mean, look, I want to be with you guys 100%. I want to be dreaming with you guys. I want the best of the best for all my Chicago teams that I root for. I truly do 110%, guys. I want to be that guy and join the bandwagon as much as and just enjoy the ride. But it is so hard with these Chicago teams that the Chicago Bears are proving it just a little bit. But the rest of the teams that I cheer for, the Cubs and the Bulls, the Blackhawks, rarely I guess bandwagon, but definitely the Bulls, which is like my second favorite team and the team that I actually grew up watching a little bit. Like, there's no point, guys. There's really no point for us to be like that. He said, it's okay, Tony. We can still dream Giannis in the if you go to, I think you could kind of make that jersey on the NBA website for sure. Put Giannis with a 34 in the back, and there you go. Your dream comes true. I do appreciate. Oh, by the way, speaking of the Chicago Bulls, their City Connect jerseys with the Chicago White Sox are out. A lot of people have mixed emotion or mixed feelings about it. Some people think they're dope. Some people think they're shit. I honestly believe like the color of their uniform should have been brown, just like both teams are. Both teams are shit. That's just my 2 cents in it, but that jersey would have looked better if the colors were inversed. I think if the jerseys were black with the red lettering and the red stripes, I think that would have probably been more perfect than with the red and black that they shown or that are selling. The hats look like shit. I really don't like it. The design looks stupid. I think the regular what would have been probably been more dope is the old school Sox logo with the guy with the batsman. I think that would have been even more dope than just the Sox. And Jose says the Cubs Mexico jersey is straight cheeks. Yeah, I saw that too. I saw the picture of them. Not a fan either. But also, to be completely 100% honest with you guys, as much as you guys see me in my Mexico jersey every once in a while, or my Mexico shirt, my Mexico training top, you guys see me. I'm supporting my Arsenal shirt today. Unfortunately, they lost on a 1-0 matchup against PSG, but that's another podcast. Yeah, I'm really not a fan, and I get what MLB tries to do and mostly like all the other sports. But I'm not a fan of like these heritage jerseys. I think they try to do too much to appease a crowd that, some of us are quite simple, and I think that's that's what it is. I think it's a little too much. The green is just it should be like you should mix up the colors just a little bit more. Splash a little bit more white. Make it a pinstripe jersey. I think if you'd have made it a pinstripe jersey, I think that would have probably been a little bit more dope, in my eyes. But the all green that they show with the red colorings, it just looks ugly to me. Yes, Liverpool did win the Premier League. Jose, congratulations! I congratulated you last week on the tie between Arsenal and Arsenal and Crystal Palace. I already saw the Cubs blue. I do like their throwbacks though, Tony. I agree with you. Their throwback baby blue version shirts. Kind of want to look at the t-shirts and hoodies for those because I really do like that color scheme a lot. So that they did right. That's actually a better City Connect jersey than the Wrigleyville jersey because that Wrigleyville jersey is fucking ugly in my eyes. I like the hoodies and the t-shirts, but the jersey itself, I've never been a jersey guy first and foremost, but that jersey is kind of ugly. So, but yes, that is our show for today. I appreciate all you guys hopping on today. Jose, Tony, Caesar, everybody else. Thank you guys. As always, make sure you guys follow us on all our social media platform. You say you tripping. I love it. Whatever. Make sure you guys follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. Make sure you guys hit the little bell on our Facebook page to get notified when our shows are live. Also, like, share, subscribe all of our episodes. Please help us build this show. Share with your friends so your friends could join us. We allow everybody to come in. We allow everybody to come. Let's just put it like that. We want to hear everybody's opinion. This show is mainly more for you guys than it is for us. So we do great. Appreciate it. Tony says, good fellas, be safe. Have a good rest of your week. You too, Tony. Have a good one. So yes, make sure, like I said, like, share, follow us on all our social media platforms, and also keep on the lookout for a potential sponsor here on the show. We appreciate all you guys for joining us. Tony, Jose, Caesar, all of you guys. Thank you guys for liking our show. Thank you guys for following. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, 7:30 on a Tuesday. Keep that in mind, as always. Oh, wait, I'm by myself. I was about to say, Jose, hit that outro. I will see you guys next week. Visca Barca. What was it? The Supercopa. Congratulations. They're gonna win the league in like 2 weeks, and then they'll probably win the domestic treble. I don't know about the Champions League. Tomorrow's game against Inter Milan, though, Tony, it's gonna be quite interesting. I think these two kind of play to each other's strengths very well. It's an interesting matchup for sure, to say the least, with Inter Milan and Barcelona. It's going to be a real chess match tomorrow. So, come on, you Gunners. I still have faith. It's only 1-0. It's okay. We'll get them next week. Other than that, for Eric, Avila, everybody else, thank you very much. I'll see you guys next week at 7:30. No Jose, so Eric, hit the outro. I'll see you guys.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
He's running like he's got a lobster down his pants.
showing that he is as slippery as a bar of soap.
Like poop through a diarrhea-infected goose.
Commented about it.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not laughing about it. You think this is funny? I take this serious.
I'm not.
Real serious. I put my heart and soul into this every single week.
Are we done here?
It's about time.